What's up, guys? Welcome to Double Chen News. It's Dan.
It's Yi.
And it's the ex-wife that divorced her husband, married his friend, but then takes care of both of them.
You know, it's a really strange but also touching situation.
Yes.
So let us explain it for you.
Right.
So what happened here?
So basically, this woman in Shaanxi China, her husband became paralyzed.
In a mining accident.
In a mining accident in 2002. So
It's really
for
unfortunate.
for some reason, her people speculated that she was gonna leave him. Like, you just speculate that?
It happens a lot of times when one person gets a really debilitating illness or gets paralyzed from an accident.
Yeah.
People will leave the significant other. Like that happens all the time. It doesn't get reported on because
Right.
it happens so often.
Right, so people were like, they thought that she was gonna leave in 3 months. I'm like, wow, give people a little more faith. Not only did she not leave in 3 months, she took care of him for years, stayed with him, but the husband, so in 2009, the husband was like, yo, I want you to, I know you love me, but I want you to marry someone who you don't
Can
have,
take care of you.
who can take care of
Like-
you, and you don't have to take care of me. I'm paralyzed. Like, I want you to be happy.
Yeah, please go forth and,
Right.
live long and prosper, sort of thing.
So this is interesting now, right? So she's taking care of him. So she does divorce him,
Yeah.
and she marries his friend, and now all three of them live with their kids, and the wife has a new kid with this guy's friend. And you can see in these pictures, like, this is just kind of bizarre.
It is because she divorced him, married his friend,
Right.
but the two of them as a couple take care of him still. every
And she
day.
had a new kid with his friend.
Yeah, and their kids are all mingling together.
And I think she's had children with the first guy too.
Yeah. So
So
that's what I
now, so
believe.
it's kind of like a one big happy family, and it's not even a dysfunctional family, but it's just so weird how it got there, and it's just like kind of interesting because there's a lot of, it is touching because one, the husband was like, yo, go do your thing, because he could have easily just been like, yeah, take care of me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, here's the thing.
You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. He can't really do anything about it because he's
Right.
paralyzed. If she
Right.
wanted to leave him, she'd pack her bags and leave.
Right.
So she didn't want to do that. So I really kudos to her for her devotion
Right.
towards him. And some people might say this situation is a little bit weird because she kind of married the friend and then they all live together.
Yeah.
But I think that every situation calls for a different solution,
Right.
and especially in extenuating circumstances.
Right.
This is obviously an extenuating circumstance.
Right, because okay, some people might not agree with this. Some people might say, well, you don't leave your husband. If you're taking care of him, why do you need to marry another man? Like, it's for better or for worse. Like, a lot of people will say that, and I have no problem with that. I also don't have a problem with this either because, like, she why can't someone also take care of her as well?
Well, here's the thing. I can say that a lot of people will be like, you should just stay with your husband.
Right.
Just stay with him and take care of him. Why
Right.
why have the need to marry another guy? But I feel like the people who are saying this don't understand how hard it is to try to work a job and take care of somebody for the rest of your life
In rural China.
in rural China without another person to give you any support.
It's impossible.
Like, a lot of times when you see something like this happen, the woman's family, like maybe her sister or her mother,
Yeah.
they'll all pitch in, they'll all work on it together.
Right.
In this case, maybe she doesn't have like a relative like that, so another person in her life, they can work as a couple to take care of him better.
Exactly.
I feel like if that's what needs to happen,
Yeah.
that's what needs to happen. It's
think
not
so.
the ideal situation.
Yeah.
If the ideal situation would be that he is not paralyzed, that they live happily, but this is not that. This is the most unideal situation.
Right.
So if this is what it needs to be, this is what it needs to be.
Yeah, and that's why I find this very interesting and touching at the same time. But still, you're like, but she I guess she wanted to, because you can't help but to think, like, you're like, oh, I guess when she was given the green light to divorce him, she took it. Because
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But like, it's just kind of weird when you think about it. But it turned out for the best because they really do look like, they all support the paralyzed husband, and they look and kind of like the more the merrier in this case.
Yeah.
Like, they can all help the kids when they grow up. They can also pitch in if they need to, because dude, look, we did stories where it was so many instances where the health system in China is so bad right now that most people don't get any kind of additional care and all this stuff. And you see people selling stuff on the street just to pay for their medical bills.
Well, I feel like in this case, because he is already paralyzed, I don't think that the medical system can even help him.
Right.
Like, he is paralyzed.
Right.
Like, the chances of him getting up again is like very
right,
slim
right.
to
There's
zero.
no treatment.
So
Yeah.
there's really no treatment.
Right.
In this scenario, what he needs is people to take care of him now, because he cannot take care of himself.
Right.
The only resort he has is for others to take care of him. And in this case, I think the worst case scenario is when he has no one to take care of him and he's all alone.
Right.
And in that case, like, he might even pass away.
Yeah.
But here, at least he's surrounded by a family of people.
Right.
It's not the ideal situation, like I said before, because I think it would be really, really hard for this guy to have his wife marry someone else. Like, can you imagine that? Like, you know, you got paralyzed and you're like, oh my gosh, I want my wife to move on because I love her.
Right.
But
And
that
that's
means
very
I have
touching,
to let her go.
Right.
But then she's like, I feel like she's a little bit conflicted. I obviously don't know what she's thinking, but it must have been very hard for her as well, for her to take the deal.
Right. You know, if Mike was here, he'd be like, yo, would you tell, if you were heard like that, would you tell Yi to move on?
No, I know you. You will be super selfless. You'd be like, oh, move on and everything.
Yeah, of course. I'd be like, whatever, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever
but
makes you happy.
Yeah, but if you marry somebody, like in this situation, it is for better or for worse.
Right.
And I think that this is one scenario in which it turned out a little bit different, but also it's still nice, I think.
Right.
But in other stories we hear, there will be like a couple and one of them is paralyzed. They're married. The other one will take care of them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's plenty of that.
That is really in sickness and in health, for better or for worse,
right.
you know? And I think that that's something we should strive towards. I think that everyone has their own tolerance level.
Right.
Not everyone can do it.
Right.
No shame on you if you can't, because I think everyone's situation is completely
life is hard,
different.
you know?
Life is extremely hard. It's hard enough without having your spouse being paralyzed.
Right, it's exactly. Hard enough, and then something tragic like this happens, so. Anyways, guys, let us know what you think of this story. Do you think that the woman should have divorced her husband in this case or not?
Also, let us know if you find the situation touching or a little bit too strange for your taste, or whatever you think about it. So we really like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. Thanks again, guys. See you later.
Bye!